بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد
وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين جل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. First, I congratulate you for the birth of the Prophet and Imam Salih alayhi salam. And I hope, inshallah, Allah opens for us today a special passage to the knowledge of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt, inshallah. This is our second session on Kashf al-Murad. And in the first session, we gave general introduction to the author, khwajah Nasir al-Tusi, to the commentator, Allama Hillis, to the book, and to the commentary. And we read also some passage from the introduction. Then we just read the title. As you know, we are starting with المقصد الثالث في إثبات الصانع تعالى وصفاته وآثاره وفيه فصول. This is the third section of the book, because the first two are more about metaphysics and philosophy. We start with ilahiyat, which is about proving the Creator and His attributes and effects or actions. And there are chapters. Okay. Al-Awwal fi wujudihi ta'ala. I think one of the nice things you can do, and inshallah I will do myself also, to write with your own hand Tajrid, at least from this point on. One of very great Allama, in the beginning of my Hawzas studies, he suggested to me to write some of the books, the brief ones. For example, I wrote Adab al-Muta'allamin with your own hand. It has a special impact on your soul, because when you write with your hand, it goes deep into your mind and soul, and also you have a good feeling. You feel that you have, somehow produced something. So Tajrid is not big, and gradually when we go forward, every day maximum is 1 line, 2 lines. I'm not saying Kashf al-Murad, I'm saying Tajrid al-I'tiqad, the main text. So, al-Awwal fi wujudihi ta'ala. So al-Fasl al-Awwal, the first chapter, is about the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You remember in Aqaid, whenever we had course, I always said that in Aqaid, we start with the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we go to the attributes. In philosophy of religion, if you take the books on philosophy of religion, normally they do the opposite. They first start with the attributes, then after talking about attributes, they talk about the existence. Because their concern is different from us. They want to see first what different religions mean by God, and then based on what they mean, they talk about existence. But for us, it's clear that what we want to prove. We want to prove someone who is the creator and not created. So the most natural thing for us is to start with the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال الموجود إن كان واجبا وإلا استلزمه لاستحالة الدور والتسلسل. The late khwajah Nasir al-Tusi, in this, my edition is different from your edition. The one that I gave you, okay, it's 392. with Ayatollah Hassan Zadeh's commentary is 392. This line is everything he says about existence of wajib al-wujud in just one line. Al-mawjudu in kana wajiban, existence. We have no doubt that there is some reality. Okay, so our first starting point is what? Is that we know there is some reality. Yeah? We don't have doubt that something exists. At least you know yourself exists. You know other people here are existing. Yeah? So we have different beings. So if someone says, I don't believe in existence, and I don't even believe in my doubt, because if he says, I don't believe, say, okay, do you believe that you don't believe? And are you there to not believe? If he says, I don't believe, and I don't even know that whether I believe or not, and I don't know anything, I don't know even I'm talking to you or not. If someone is denying everything, then there is no way that you can rationally start conversation with this person. This person needs to be awakened by some maybe other means, not by reasoning. For example, you can throw him into water, into sea, ocean, see, okay, is it real or not? Anyway, but we are talking about people who don't deny existence. Therefore, the very first word that Hadi Nasir uses is al-mawjudu. So we have no doubt that there is existence. Now, the question is there only created contingent being or beings, or there is creator, there is uncreated, there is necessary being as well? If someone says there is created being, but I don't know about it that much, and I need to discuss the number, how many qualities, okay, so we don't need to discuss with him the first chapter. Yeah? If someone says there is a creator, there is wajib al-wujud, but I don't know, maybe it's nature, maybe it's the, I don't know, for example, fire. You say, okay, so you believe there is something which is not created and is the source. So then we don't have any argue for the first chapter. Then we go to the attributes. Okay? So in the first chapter, who are the people that we want to argue with and convince them? The people who have not accepted existence of anything which is not created and indeed is creator, or wajib al-wujud. So we say al-mawjud, what exists, in kana wajiban, if it is necessary, means if you accept that it is necessary. Then he doesn't mention jaza. In this is jumla shartiyya, yeah? Conditional sentence needs shart and jaza. Yeah? For example, I say إذا جاء الشمس فالنهار موجود. إذا جاءت الشمس, إذا الشمس طالعة فالنهار موجود. If there is sun, there is day. There is sun is jumla shart. There is day is jumla jaza. Okay? So, sometimes in Arabic, because jaza is known and you can guess, they don't mention it. Yeah? In kana wajiban, then Hadi Nasir didn't mention jaza. Means in kana wajiban, fahuwa al-matlub. So this is what we were trying to prove. We don't have any discussion, any problem here. وَإِلَّا, but if being is not wajib. You say, this is what you have to prove. I don't accept that we have wajibul wujud. Say, okay, if it is not wajib, means it is mumkin. Istalzamahu wa illa istalzamahu. Then we do wasl, we connect. We say wa illa istalzamahu. Yeah. If it is not wajib, means it is mumkin, then it would require and imply existence of wajibul wujud. Istalzamahu. So either you accept that there is wajibul wujud, or you finally have to come to the point that you acknowledge that without wajibul wujud we couldn't have anything. What is the argument for this? Why you say istalzamahu? Listihalat ad-dawr wa at-tasalsul. Because it's impossible to have vicious circle, and it's impossible to have endless regression. Dawr means that we say A, which is contingent, is created by B, B is created by A. Yeah, this is called dawr musarrah, because there is only one thing and then coming back. It can be more than one. For example, A is created by B, B is created by C, C created by A, or A by B, B by C, C by D, D by A. Anyway, you end where you started. So the very first thing which depended on something else and then depended on something else, then finally depends on itself. This is called dawr, is vicious circle. Or tasalsul, regression. Tasalsul cannot go endlessly. Say A depends on B, B on C, C on D, D on E, E on F, and just you keep going. You don't stop anywhere. Because if you stop and you say there is something that doesn't depend on anything else, that's wajibul wujud. If you want to avoid admitting wajibul wujud, you have to say this goes endlessly. This infinite number of cause and effect. This is also impossible. Why dawr and tasalsul are impossible? He doesn't mention here. Everything else, the argument is complete. He doesn't mention why dawr and tasalsul is impossible. Why? Because in the past he has already proved, when he had discussion about al-Hilli. In my book, it's page 177. There is a title, fi ibtal tasalsul. So, if you look at discussion about al-Hilli, al-fasl al-thalith, this is in maqsad al-awwal, the first part of the book. The third chapter, fil illat wal ma'lul, in cause and effect. Then there are different mas'ala, different issues, different problems. Al-mas'alatu al-rabi'ah fi ibtal tasalsul. So he has already discussed this. But inshallah, I will mention his argument, because we didn't discuss this before. I will mention his argument. But what I'm trying to say is that Khwajah Nasir is not leaving anything without proof. If he doesn't mention why it is impossible, it's because he has already discussed this before. Okay? So, I repeat what he said, so that we make sure that we understand what he says. Then we go into the commentary. Al-mawjudu in kana wajiban fahuwa al-matlub fahuwa al-wajib ta'ala fahuwa al-khaliq. If being that you accepted there is reality is wajib, that is what we wanted to prove. Wa illa, if it is not wajib, then that non-wajib, that mumkin, istalzam al-wajib, istalzamahu, would require and imply wajib. Why? Because it is impossible to have door or tasalsul. Vicious circle is impossible. Endless regression is impossible. So the only chance is that we say we should end somewhere that it's not dependent on anything else. So it is uncreated creator. Okay. Now let's see what Allama Hillis rahimahullah explains. أقول يريد إثبات واجب الوجود تعالى. I say that Khwajah Nasir, we say al-Matin also, is the one who has written the main text. Al-Matin, the main text is written by him. يريد إثبات واجب الوجود. He wants to prove necessary being, Ta'ala, the high, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَبَيَانَ صِفَاتِهِ. He also wants to explain attributes of Wajib al-Wujud. Not in this chapter, in this section. So first, he wants to prove existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then bayana sifatihi, to explain attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wama yajuzu alayh, wama la yajuz. What are the things which are possible for God and what are the things which are not possible? I have told you many times when we had philosophy and kalam that when philosophers say jawaz, they don't mean jawaz in the sense of hilliya and permissibility in fiqh. In fiqh, when we say yajuz, la yajuz, means is it permissible or it's haram, prohibited. But in philosophy, in kalam, when we say jaiz or ghayr jaiz, means is it possible or it's impossible. You understand the difference? So, what are the things which are possible for God? What are the things which are not possible? For example, it's possible for God to be seen by physical eyes? No. Is it possible for him to have partner? No. Is it possible that he makes immoral actions? No. Is it possible for him to, for example, do things which are, for example, I don't know, very difficult for us? Yes. But is it possible for him to do impossible things? No. It's not possible for him to do impossible things. Because impossible things by themselves are impossible. It's not a problem in power. Anyway, we'll talk about all these things. So, Khwajah Nasir wants to prove Wajib al-Wujud, the necessary being, وَبَيَانَ صِفَاتِهِ. He wants also to explain attributes of Wajib al-Wujud, وَمَا يَجُوزُ عَلَيْهِ, and what is possible for Wajib al-Wujud, وَمَا لَا يَجُوزُ, and what is not possible. Also, وَبَيَانَ أَفْعَالِهِ. He wants to explain actions of Wajib al-Wujud. وَآثَارِهِ. Athar means effects, which is very close to af'al. Af'al wa athar. Athar are the things which are coming from him as effects, as manifestations, actions. وَابْتَدَأَ بِإِثْبَاتِ وُجُودِهِ. So he has all these in his mind, but he started with what? بِإِثْبَاتِ وُجُودِهِ. The very first thing that he wanted is to prove the existence of God. Why? Everything has a reason. He must have a reason. لأنه الأصل في ذلك كله. Because existence of God, of Wajib al-Wujud, is the principle, is the most underlying principle, is the foundation for everything. You cannot talk about his actions, about his attributes, what is possible or impossible for him, unless you first prove that he exists. Yeah? in Hawza we have this, saying very much. We say, ثبت العرش ثم انقش. Yeah, ثبت العرش ثم انقش. First, make sure that there is arsh. Arsh means like throne, and then you can paint it. You cannot paint something which is not existing. Yeah. So first we have to make sure that the subject is there. So first we have to prove the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَالدَّلِيلُ عَلَى وُجُودِهِ. Now, what is the reason for existence of God? I clarify one point that you must already know, but just إِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. What is the difference between dalil and illah? Dalil is reason. Dalil is epistemological. Dalil is something by which you understand. Illah is the cause, something that gives existence. Okay? Again, we have this terminology in Hawza. We say maqam thubut, maqam isbat. Dalil is for maqam thubut, means when we are talking about in the context of existence, you use illah. When you are talking to illah is for thubut. Dalil is for isbat, when you want to prove something, you want to argue for something. Okay? Dalil is a notion or something, can be also a being that we use to come to something's existence. For example, a very simple example. I see fire, okay, and I see a smoke, okay. If I see fire and I see a smoke, means I am seeing the cause and the effect. So there is cause and effect. I'm seeing both of them. Sometimes I only see fire and sometimes I only see a smoke. Okay? If I see both of them, I don't need any argument. I don't need to argue. Yeah? Aftab Ahmad Dalil Aftab. When you see sun, you don't need to prove existence of sun. So, if I see both of them, no problem. If I see one of them, this is important for our discussion today later also. If I see a smoke, from existence of a smoke, I come to know that there must be fire. Can you explain how this works? How by seeing a smoke, you can prove that there is fire? You say, a smoke is ma'lul, is effect. A smoke cannot exist by itself. It needs it needs a being that has brought it into this world. So, a smoke is ma'lul, is effect, and needs a cause. As far as we know, when there is a smoke, there is always fire. So from a smoke, we realize that it is fire. Okay? So, what have you done here in your mind? You have moved from ma'lul to illah, from effect to the cause. So you have used ma'lul in order to prove the existence of illah. So fire is ma'lul, but at the same time fire is dalil, is reason. A smoke. A smoke is ma'lul and at the same time is dalil. Okay? This ma'lul has helped you to understand that there must be fire. So don't be surprised How ma'lul can be dalil? No problem. Dalil is general. Dalil, yani anything that guide me towards something else. Ma'lul can take me to illah. Sometimes it's the other way around. I see fire, and from existence of fire, I realize that there must be some smoke, some heat, some light. These are all effects. But from fire, which is illah, cause, I have come to know effects. So here, illah and dalil are the same. Okay? So sometimes you go from ma'lul to illah. Sometimes you go from illah to ma'lul. So, dalil is whatever your mind uses to build upon it some knowledge. It can be ma'lul, like moving from a smoke to fire. It can be illah, like moving from fire to a smoke. Okay? In order to refer to this difference, they have two terms. Al-Burhanul Inni and Burhanul Limmi. Okay, this is what you study in Mantiq. Al-Burhanul Inni. Inna, here it's not Inna Nasaba. N means existence. Al-Burhanul Inni means the argument which uses ma'lul to prove the existence of illah. Like what? When you see a smoke and you say there must be fire. Al-Burhanul Limmi goes from illah to ma'lul. From fire to light, to a smoke, to heat. Okay? So in Burhan Inni, what is dalil? Ma'lul. In Burhan al-Limmi, what is dalil? Illah. Okay? There are also some types of arguments that they say they are neither lemmi nor enni, because according to some people they divide into three. They say there is enni, lemmi, and not lemmi and enni. Some people say there is third category. Like what? For example, when you go from ahadul mutadhayifain to the other one. You know mutadhayif? Two concepts that they relate to each other to the extent that without understanding one, you cannot understand the other. Yeah? Amran wujudiyan la yumkinu idraku ahadima min dun al-akhar. Like ubuwwa wal bunuwwa. To be parent and child. You cannot understand parenthood without understanding childhood. Or fawq and taht. Something is above, something is under. Above without under doesn't make sense. So if I know someone is father or mother, or for example brothers, siblings, these are mutadhayif. From one I can go to the other, but this may not necessarily be illa to ma'lul or ma'lul to illa. Anyway, this is not our discussion, but because he has used the term lemmi and enni, I had to explain. And this is the beginning, so inshallah it will help us for the rest of the course. So, to sum up, reason is different from illah. Illah means cause. Reason means, dalil or something for understanding, something that helps you for understanding. If what helps you to understand something else is the cause for that thing, this is called lemmi. If it is effect, it is called enni. If from a smoke you know there is fire, this is enni. If from fire you know there is smoke, this is lemmi. Okay? In Burhan al-Nazm, you know Burhan al-Nazm, argument from design. We use existence of beings, like for example, Allah says, أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبِلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ or إِلَى السَّمَاءِ كَيْفَ رُفِعَتْ إِلَى الْجِبَالِ كَيْفَ نُصَتْ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ كَيْفَ. So from reflection on mountains and earth and sky and camel and other things, human beings, human body, we understand existence of a creator who has knowledge and power and can design. Burhan al-Nazm is Burhan inni, because you are going from Ma'lul to Allah. Okay? So, ad-dalilu ala wujudihi, not al-illatu li wujudihi. Ad-dalilu ala wujudihi. What is the reason for existence of God? Existence of God has no cause, but it can have reason. Don't be surprised, because to have reason is not a problem. Even his ma'lul can be reason for knowing that he exists. An-naqul. So the proof, the reason for his existence is this. As I said, we say either this reality that exists is wajib, or at least among them there is wajib or not. If there is wajib, that is wajib. If it is not wajib, it must end with wajib. At some point, we must have something which is not created by anything else and does not depend on anything else. وَالدَّلِيلُ عَلَى وُجُودِهِ أَن نَقُولَ هُنَا مَوْجُودٌ بِالضَّرُورَةِ. We have to say it this way. Hona mawjudun means there is existence. In Arabic, when you say hona mawjudun or honaka mawjudun, means there is. Bid-darura. What does bid-darura mean here? No. Bid-darura here means it is self-evident, obviously. Darura sometimes means necessity, sometimes means that something is obvious, is self-evident. Yeah? For example, if we say, whoever denies one of the daruriyat of deen, he is not a believer. Daruriyat means those things which are obvious. Everyone knows, Muslim, non-Muslim, they know this is one of the doctrines of Islam, one of the practices of Islam. This is the daruriyat. So, hona mawjudun bid-darura. Bid-darura here means obviously. It's self-evident. No one can say, we don't have anything, there is no reality at all. Okay, so the first point is, there is a reality. فَإِنْ كَانَ وَاجِبًا. If that reality, that we all acknowledge, is wajibul wujud, is necessary being, فَهُوَ الْمَطْلُوبِ. So that is what we wanted to prove. So we don't need to discuss. But وَإِنْ كَانَ مُمْكِنًا. If you say, no, I only admit and confess that there is contingent being, mumkinul wujud. Mumkinul wujud means something that may exist and may not exist. افتقر إلى مؤثر موجود بالضرورة. If it is contingent and you can only accept that there is contingent or there are contingent beings, we say, okay, this contingent being افتقر, needs what? مؤثرا, a cause, something that brings this into existence. بالضرورة. This is again obviously. Because if someone says, no, I don't accept, this means that he doesn't understand the meaning of mumkin. Anyone who understands mumkin, what is mumkin? Mumkin means existence and non-existence are the same. Yeah? Mumkinul wujud means there is no existence or non-existence in its mahi and its essence. If it exists, it needs reason and cause. If it doesn't exist, also needs reason and cause. Because either way must be because of something else. Yeah? Of course, in philosophy we have explained that if it exists, it needs a cause that must be existent. If it doesn't exist, it can be because of lack of the cause. Adamul illah illatun la adamil ma'lum. Having no cause is the cause for non-existing. Okay? Anyway, there must be something outside the essence that can explain, because essence is equal to existence and non-existence. So, if it is contingent, it needs mu'athir, something that is having the power to originate, to bring it into existence, which must exist, obviously. فَذَلِكَ الْمُؤَثِّرُ, that cause, إِنْ كَانَ وَاجِبًا. If you say, okay, that one I accept it is wajib, the one that gives existence is wajib, okay, that is wajib al-wujud. فَالْمَطْلُوب. But if you say, no, the second one is also mumkin, we say, okay, the second one then again needs a mu'athir. وَإِنْ كَانَ مُمْكِنًا افتقر إلى مؤثر موجود. Needs another cause which exists. Now we bring the question to that one, to the second mu'athir, to the second cause. فَإِنْ كَانَ وَاجِبًا فَالْمَطْلُوب. If you say this, then that is wajib al-wujud, okay, alhamdulillah. وَإِنْ كَانَ مُمْكِنًا. If you say no, that is also mumkin, okay. Now, you have three chances. One was that to say it is wajib, you didn't accept. One is to say it would end with wajib. Okay, so then that is wajib. After 4 times, 5 times, 10 times, 1,000 times, finally you accept that we must reach a point that doesn't depend on anything else. If you don't accept this, then you have problem. You must either end with tasalsul or door. And both of them are impossible. Either vicious circle or endless regression. وَإِنْ كَانَ مُمْكِنًا. If the other mu'athir, the other illah, again you say that is also contingent, tasalsala aw dara. It would either go, endlessly into regression, or it becomes vicious circle. وَقَدْ تَقَدَّمَ بُطْلَانُهُمَا. And in the past, in the discussion about causality, we said that these are not possible. I will explain again. I will mention this again. وَهَذَا بُرْهَانٌ قَاطِعٌ. And this is a strong and decisive proof. أُشِيرَ إِلَيْهِ فِي الْكِتَابِ الْعَزِيزِ. In the glorious Quran, there is a reference to this ayah. أَوَلَمْ يَكْفِ بِرَبِّكَ أَنَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ شَهِيدٌ. In Surah Fussilat, verse 53, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, isn't your Lord sufficient as a witness for everything, over everything? So he is a witness over everything, including his own existence. Ibn Sina has this idea. He says, Quran sometimes refers to the arguments that mutakallimin have used. سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتِنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ. Soon we will show them our signs in horizons and in themselves. Yeah? This is what our scholars call Sayra Afaqi wa Sayra Anfusi. Either you look at the world around you, this is Sayra Afaqi, you look at horizons, means everything around. Or inside Anfusi. Both of these journeys are journeys from creation to the creator. Yeah? This is what mutakallimin do. This is burhan inni. Ibn Sina says there is another way which is better, and that is to use Allah himself, not his creatures, for proof. And he says this ayah refers to that point. أَوَلَمْ يَكْفِ بِرَبِّكَ أَنَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ شَهِيدٌ. Okay? So, the idea is this. Instead of using creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, instead of saying that every motion needs a mover or every contingent, for example, being that you see is a hadith, and hadith needs, for example, something to bring it into existence, argument from design, all other, the idea is that let's use something that is directly about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the concept of wujud. We use wujud, existence, and from existence we can prove that wajib al-wujud exists. Therefore, Ibn Sina had the idea that burhanul imkan wal wujub is burhanul siddiqeen, because siddiqeen, the most truthful people, are those who come to knowledge of God through God. You don't use anything to come to existence of God. Directly you go to God. As in Dua Arafah, Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, أَيَّكُونُ لِغَيْرِكَ مِنَ الظُّهُورِ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ. Is something other than you in possession of any clarity that you don't have, so that they make you clear why I need to use mountains and camels, and a sky. It's possible. Quran invites us to reflect on these things. But why I need to do that? I can go more directly towards God. مَتَى غِبْتَ حَتَّى تَحْتَاجَ إِلَيْهِ. So that's a kind of mystical understanding of God. And close to that is a philosophical argument that they call it Burhan al-Siddiqeen, that still is ilm husuli, but you don't use any creature. You start with the concept of wujud. Of course, Mullah Sadra said, still Ibn Sina's point is not Siddiqeen, and we have to take it another level. That's another discussion. So, for the time being, what is important, and I think our time is over, inshallah, we continue next week. What is important is that we start with the concept of wujud. Since we all admit that there is a reality in this world, we say, this reality that we witness in the world, does it involve wajibul wujud, necessary being, or not? If you accept, it's alhamdulillah. That's matlub, that there is wajibul wujud. Then, what is wajibul wujud? Is it one more? We talk about it later. If you say no, everything in this world is contingent, everything is given existence by something else, we say, okay, this needs a cause. What about that cause? If you say that cause is wajib, say alhamdulillah. If you say no, that cause is also mumkin and it's caused by another one, so either you have to come back and make it vicious circle, A by B, B by C, but C by A again, or you want to avoid admitting and you have to go endlessly. This is tasalsul. Tasalsul is also batil. It's impossible. Why? I make it very clear, very brief, and inshallah, if you want, I can explain it more. Khwajah, before in page 177, has mentioned few arguments. But one of the easiest arguments for tasalsul is this. What is tasalsul? Means you have a chain. A depends on B, B depends on C, C depends on D, and you say it goes without any end. It's infinite. Question. If one thing is mumkin, it needs a cause, needs something from outside. If you make one, two, does it stop the need? If one mumkin needs cause, two mumkins also need cause. If there is a chain, if there is a group that they are all dependent, the number can increase as much as you like, but the need is there. 100 people or 1 million people or 1 billion people, they are all needy. You cannot just add the number and you think that you remove the need. Actually, the more the chain is expanded, the more we need. Yes? So, if someone has bread in his hand, I say, who gave you bread? He says, second person. I say, who gave you? He said, the third person. The third person, I say, who gave you? The fourth person. Okay, at the end there must be someone who has given them bread, because if everyone is going to say that I have taken from someone else, so who brought this bread? You have to end somewhere that is not in need of something else. This is the argument for impulse. One of the arguments. They have few arguments, but it's very simple and I think very good argument. Inshallah, we will continue this discussion because Mullah Sadra also has some beautiful points here I want to mention. So I don't finish this chapter. We leave it open so that we come back. And there is a comparison also between philosophers' argument and theologians' argument. So we leave it, inshallah, for the next week. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alam.